Just go like this when you're ready for me to start, Zach. When people.
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Steve Edwards here, CEO of Premier Virtual. So excited for you to join our webinar today on how to harness the power of your virtual platform. It's such an exciting day here to be able to show you all of this. I have Zach, who is on the call with me, who's my Director of Business Solutions, and John, who's our Director of Marketing. I was asked last minute to speak at the Florida Department of Economic Opportunities Veterans Program. So I just wanted to introduce myself, say hi to everybody. Zach is now going to take it over and go through all of the power of what a virtual platform can do for you. Zach, it is all yours, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Steve. As Steve mentioned, my name is Zach Schifla. I am the Director of Business Solutions here at Premier Virtual. I also have my Director of Marketing here, John Garcia, and I'm going to take you through some of the more creative use cases when it comes to Premier Virtual. Those of you who are familiar with PV would probably associate us, with career and job fairs. And to be honest with you, that's the majority of what we do. But what we're trying to get across to you in this webinar, and largely, is that we are about more than just job fairs. Anything that you can envision hosting in an in-person capacity, you can hold virtually on our platform. So you're thinking workshops, you're thinking just registration pages, you're thinking youth expos. Anything that you can conduct in the in-person world, you can conduct virtually on our platform. So what I'm going to do is hop in here and share my screen and kind of give you guys some visual examples of what I'm talking about. Now, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to either raise your hand in the Zoom. You can leave them in the chat and John will get to them, but I will be more than happy to answer those questions as they come in. John, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So everyone, what you're looking at here, this is actually a lobby of a real live event of one of our customers, Golden Sierra, who is located out in California. And they're a great customer of ours for a few different reasons. But one of the main reasons I love working with them is because of the creative uses they do with our platform. So this really starts with their Tri-County Job Fair. Now, this event right here, this is actually a hybrid event. Now, what does hybrid mean? Hybrid means it can be virtual and in person. So I want to show you some of the different stuff that Golden Sierra did here. As you can see here, this is their in-person section. I click on this, I'm automatically directed to the all employers in the resource booths for everything happening in person. But if I go back out, I can go to the virtual job fair over here. So it's a really essential tool, and I'll tell you why, because there are some people who simply do not want to conduct things in person right now. We all know what's happened over the course of the past 2.5 years. We've been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, granted, we're living in a post-pandemic world, but there are still some risks associated. So when you're dealing with that, you still have some people who are reluctant to get out there, and they may still need to be employed, right? So that's where Premier Virtual can come in. You're going to be able to capture the entirety of your geographic location that you're trying to target to get these placements filled. Anyone who doesn't want to go to an event in person is going to be able to join your event virtually. Anyone who doesn't want to do a virtual event is going to be able to do it in person. That is the beauty of hybrid. Me personally, I like shaking hands and seeing people in person, but I see the value of virtual. I know that if I'm a hiring manager and I need to get expert positions filled, I'm going to choose a hybrid path because that's going to allow me to capture the entirety of my attendance base. So with that being said, I want to take you through a few of our different clients and how they've set up the Premier Virtual platform. So again, this is the Tri-County Job Fair from Golden Sierra out in California. Now, we also have some clients that are in the military, which brings me to our next showcase event, the Fort Sill TAP, which is Transition Assistance Program virtual hiring event. So we're working with workforce associations, of course, and helping them host their hybrid events, but also we're proud to work with the United States military. We actually have a bid out there right now to work with all 56 domestic military installations and helping them operate their transitions assistance program. We're very proud and honored to be working with veterans organizations like that. And our CEO, who just hopped off, Mr. Stephen Edwards, is actually a veteran of the 82nd Airborne, and we have a few other veterans employed within our organizations. So anything we can do to help veterans, work with veterans organizations, and try and get those people employed into the jobs they want, we are more than happy to do. So this is an example of the Fort Sill TAPS program, their virtual hiring event. So you can see here, it's a very clean and easy setup. And that's another reason why hybrid works best. right? Because it's easy and it's simple to understand, whether it's a job fair, a resource event, a workshop, a benefit event, something for unemployment insurance assistance. Our system is designed so that it's easy for you to use. No matter what, it's going to be the same process as far as getting your profile registered onto our platform. It's always going to look and feel the same as far as the setup. And you'll see if you visit independent software review sites like G2 and Capterra, that we are in fact ranked #1 best in class for both ease of use and customer support. And there's a reason behind that, because our platform is designed for people who might not have the most technical skills. So now what I'm going to go on to is this other military virtual career fair. What you're going to see here is that they have it divided up in a couple different and creative ways. And this also can go to the beyond a job fair, right? Harnessing the full potential of your virtual platform. You can have internships loaded on here, guys. You can have your veteran support loaded on here. So if I click on this and I'm a veteran, I have all of these different support facilities. This isn't even me applying for a job, right? As a veteran, this is me going into this event looking for support outside of just getting a career. So really powerful stuff that they've done here in the way they've set up this event. And I think this is a really good template event for anyone who's curious about hosting a hybrid event for their organization. Whether you're talking about hosting, again, that career event or something more creative, you can use this template and really see that they're getting the interaction and the engagement that they want within their events. Now, next, I wanted to show you, we also do a lot of work with the youth, and we also have a couple youth career expos on our platform. This is an example from Citrus Levin, Marion County down here in Central Florida. They do a ton of creative stuff with our platform. Again, taking it well beyond the power of just hosting a career or a job fair. You'll see here, I can actually go into this event and I can see their keynote speakers. So even if I'm not interested in getting a job, maybe I'm already currently employed, but I'm interested in the information that Andy Chan is giving out, I can go in, take part in the Premier Virtual event and have that great experience, be able to watch the keynote address from within our platform, which brings me to one of our features, which is really helpful. The fact that we can actually host a video conference from inside of our platform. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So what I can do if I am in the Premier Virtual platform is quite a few different things. But as far as the setup of it, if I go to the edit of the event here, this is where I can really get creative and start talking about all the different uses from beyond just the job fair, right? So obviously the title of your event, it can reflect whatever you need it to reflect, and the event banner can reflect whatever you need it to reflect also. So you can imagine how creative you can get with this banner. It can be an event logo right here. It can be sponsorships. It can be affiliates of yours that you're trying to bring attention to. There really is no limit as to what you can put in this event banner. The only thing we suggest is always going to be the resolution. Now, as I come down here, we have some qualifying questions that you can ask, and this is going to be helpful. Let's say if you are hosting a veterans resource event, you can say, are you an active duty service member? And then I can make that question a single answer, a multi-answer, a text input, or a yes or no. And don't worry, you who's hosting this hybrid event on our platform will have access to all of these answers, all of this data before your event even starts. Another beautiful portion of the Premier Virtual platform, regardless of the type of event you're hosting on our platform, you have access to powerful data sets, both live during your event and post-event reporting. Really helpful feature that you simply will not find either on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, within our competitors, and especially in the in-person world. So again, harnessing the full power, data collection is all about harnessing that full power, right? So here's our text-based questions, right? These are beautiful, really basic stuff. If you want to get into some more high-level activities on our platform, this is where you can start to set up maybe some mock interviews, right? Taking it beyond the virtual job fair into some more creative and useful cases. So what I can do is maybe I want to set up some mock interviews for my candidates. I can go up here, I can add an interview set, and I will title this our test question, and I can actually record myself asking, what brought you to this workshop today, and what area of our armed forces did you serve in? I can then save my changes and then have my candidates or my attendees answer that question in a 30-second, a 60-second, or an unlimited portion of time. So that's really crucial because you're creating that meaningful video engagement that kind of brings candidates beyond their resume, beyond the information you see about them on LinkedIn or Facebook, right? You're having that first meaningful engagement. I will pause now to check for questions. Again, anyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in our chat. You can also use the QA functionality. We are more than able to show you anything on our platform that is relevant to you. If there are no questions at this time, what I'm going to do is keep moving along. And so what I wanted to show you now is, so we've talked about career and job fairs, right? And how we want to harness the full power of a virtual platform. Well, one of the ways we can do that is by having a constant virtual job board open. So you're not having that dedicated event, let's say on November 17th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Maybe you want to have a site that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that candidates, maybe they can't sleep on a random night. They want to go in and see what jobs you have to offer. Your virtual job board is going to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your candidates can come in if they're in the Albany area, check out all the jobs available to them in the Albany area. They can hop into the USPS booth right here. They're going to see the easy apply here button. They can see the about us, and then they can go back to their lobby. So a candidate can come in, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, they still are interested in having that job. You wake up, you get to work the next day at 9 a.m. You have that resume there waiting for you. So you're never losing out on that ideal candidate when you have your virtual job board open. So really essential functionality when you're talking about Premier Virtual and harnessing the entire power of the Premier Virtual platform. Now, another thing I wanted to show everyone is that when you're talking about hosting a hybrid event, some of our clients actually just use us for registration purposes. So if they're having that workshop or that resource or that networking event, they can simply say, hey, scan this QR code, and then you can be tracked on our registration page. So this is actually Walt Disney World. And what they do, what Walt Disney World does on our platform, they have this QR code stationed all around their in-person event. And they're directing their candidates, whoever's joining one of their events, to scan this code. So then they're tracked on our registration reports. That's crucial, right? Because that's something that simply is not offered in the in-person world. And there's a reason an organization like Walt Disney World is using us for that purpose, right? This goes to show you that you can find a use for us. If Walt Disney can use us, I think everyone on this call can use us, right? They found a way to harness the full power of the Premier Virtual platform, even when they're not hosting a dedicated virtual event. Even if they don't want to host a hybrid event, if they want to meet people who are going to be, let's say, potential characters, they need to interview their new Winnie the Pooh. That's got to be done in person, right? But Winnie the Pooh is going to have to scan this QR code. That's just what it's going to be for Winnie. What can we do? Any questions so far on anything that I've shown you? Okay, perfect. So what I want to show everyone next is what an event registration page looks like. This is our May 18th youth and adult job fair registration. So I can come in here and register as an attendee. And this just gives you an idea of what a landing page can look like. And again, the landing page, everything you see, fully customizable. I know I might sound like a broken record, but it's really true that everything you see on our page is fully customizable. So regardless of the type of event you're looking to hold, whether it is that job fair or that resource event or that benefit event, you can have that customized banner along with customized information to correlate with your event. Now, on this landing page here, you'll see here in this information box, this is actually an HTML box, meaning that it is fully able to be customized with links, with text, with GIFs, or with videos. So it's really whatever you want to draw attention to for your registrants as they're registering for your event. And keep in mind, anytime you see a link within the Premier Virtual platform, if I click on that link, it is never going to take me away from my event. It's always going to open in a new tab or a new window. We never want to send people away for them to check a link, then never to return, right? So our platform is designed to keep them all into one place. Okay, I will pause here for questions. Do we have any questions so far?
Zach, I just want to maybe for reinforcement, some of the things you said. You showed the workshop, you showed the workshops, you showed the virtual job boards. How does that tie into maybe the 24/7 kind of like virtual hiring room, and you know, being able to, I guess, schedule right interviews at any time?
Yeah, so that's a great point, John. And our virtual hiring room is a brand new feature of the Premier Virtual platform. I'm more than happy to go in and start talking about that. So what the VRS is it's kind of a, I don't want to say bare bones, but it's a more basic version of our platform. What it allows you to do is kind of just have the experience of letting candidates come in, apply for those jobs at their leisure, then having your recruiters check those resumes at their leisure. And this is how our VRS could look. As you can see, it's the same exact layout as in our platform as you would see for an event. There's just a few less options here and a lot less bells and whistles, but this can help you out in the sense that it's super easy to use, even easier than our platform is out of the box. This is an even easier version to use. So not to worry if you've had some HR staff that might not be as tech savvy as we are, they'll have no problem using the Premier Virtual Platform or the VRS. And that actually brings me to my next point, which is I want to talk about how Premier Virtual assists you in hosting events. Now, whether that event be a virtual event, a hybrid event, whether it be a job fair, career fair, workshop, regardless of the type of event, you're going to have assistance from us as far as a client success manager. The moment that you license the Premier Virtual software package, you are assigned a dedicated client success manager. It's their job to show you all of these creative use cases, right? So they're going to take you around and show you the Fort Sill hiring event. They're going to show you the Youth Career Expo, the Walt Disney World registration page. They're going to brainstorm with you about how to create a special and unique event for your organization. And our client success team is really what separates us from our competition. They've been doing this for a combined experience of over 10 years in assisting our clients in hosting successful hybrid events. They know best practices as far as images to upload, what draws attention, when to send out our registration link so we can get our organizations and our attendees to our event. They have all that knowledge built in. Why is that? They do this every day, right? We do this every day. You don't. So it's our job to educate you and whoever's going to be interacting with our platform on how to use our platform. So if it's for you, the host, as many trainings as you need for your organizations, and of course for your job seekers, we are there every step of the way. Again, from the moment you license to the day of your VRS, if your VRS stays open, we're here for you at all days and times. And then once your event is over with, going over that post-event reporting, our client success team is what really separates us from the pack. In addition to our client success team, if you get lost in our platform and you don't want to reach out, maybe you're like me, maybe you're a little bit stubborn, right? I don't like asking for help. It's just not my thing. I need to get better at that. We have embedded training into our platform, and this training can cover anything in our platform, any sort of event, from a job fair to a benefit fair to an unemployment event. It's all covered here in our video tutorials. And these tutorials are for your attendees, for the organizations, and then of course, for you, the host. In addition to all of these helpful user guides, we also have downloadable user guides. These come in PDF form, along with frequently asked questions for, again, you, the host, for your organizations, and for your attendees. So training, client success, huge part of what makes Premier Virtual special. Huge reason why people use our site to host different sorts of events, because no matter what the event is, we can provide that 5-star support that you come to expect from us. Any questions so far? John, how am I doing?
You're doing great. I think, there's a lot here for people to digest. One question I think I'd have would be, what's the recommendation or what have you seen successful wise as far as, do you have an event one day open for 8 hours? Do you have it for 2 days?
Sure.
What are some of the best practices with how to actually, present the event?
Sure. Appreciate that, John. Absolutely. And yeah, I would say that we want to stay away from those 8-hour events. And I'll tell you why. You can kind of lose people during those huge, long events. And what we've seen with some of our larger clients that have recurring events, recurring successful events on our platform, is that they're limiting that time that it's open to 4 hours. So they might have their job event open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, that's not to say that you can't have that event open for 8 hours, right? I was just talking about the VRS. That can be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But it's really about what you're trying to accomplish with our platform. If you want to have that dedicated event where you're marketing around it, right? John's our director of marketing. He's more than happy to collaborate with you on strategies to drive attendance. No matter what type of event, we have creative marketing marketing strategies to help you drive attendance to that event. So it really is about what you're trying to get out of our platform. I usually advise my clients to keep their events around 4 hours and then give yourself around 2 to 4 weeks of lead time before you host that event. And the reason being is you want to give us and John a chance to market that event, right? John, is that a good recommendation? 2 to 4 weeks?
Yeah, yes, 2 to 4 weeks. Basically, that middle 3 week is ideal. Yep.
Yeah. So you want to give us a chance to put our marketing arms to good use, right? As soon as you have that event created, we're going to take your links. I'll show you what those links look like. We're going to take your links right here. Oh, forgive me for 1 minute. I have 1,000 tabs open. And we're going to share your links to your event across all of our social media platforms. We have a strong outreach everywhere from LinkedIn all the way from Facebook to Twitter to YouTube. So we'll take your link right here and share that out amongst everyone that we can. We're going to blast that out. And also we can help you in coordinating a press release. Believe it or not, brick and mortar institutions, television stations, radio stations, newspapers, still super effective in getting the message across about job events. And as soon as the news hears that you're putting on a job fair, that's positive news. They're going to pick up on that and give you some extra traction. If you want to talk about Google ads, retargeting, that's a conversation we can also put together on a marketing strategy call with Mr. John Garcia. Any questions on anything? Sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I guess while we're touching on some marketing, and it's really, would you say, Zach, the biggest challenge is depending on, obviously, we've seen some success with trade organizations and memberships, right? We had an event, was it AAPC? How many members showed up to their event recently?
Yes, that was a really great event that happened last week on our platform. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure on the number of attendees, but I know we had 6,500 resume submissions in a 4-hour period of time. And I believe the number of attendees is around 1/3 of that. So each attendee was going in there and having about 3 resume submissions. So that's a huge number, right? You simply cannot keep track of that amount of resume submissions in an in-person event. It's impossible. That's the power of virtual. That's the power of hybrid. That's the reason why hybrid is a part of the present and also is going to be a part of the future. What I've heard from a few clients or a few prospects I've reached out to, well, we're sick of virtual. We've been doing this since 2020, with the onset of COVID, we're all zoomed out. We're ready to get back to in person. That's great. And I understand that. But what you have to understand is that when you're hosting events, people from other generations are going to expect you to have that virtual option. That is an expectation in 2022. If I were to go out and look for a job tomorrow and I was going to an event and they didn't have a virtual option, I would immediately disregard that event because I wouldn't think they were taking themselves seriously. It's the new age, guys. We have to be creative in our outreach. We have to be creative in trying to fill our open placements. We have to be creative when we're trying to host events. What's going to get people through the doors? It's not going to be excluding people. It's not going to be saying, hey, we're only hosting this event in person. We're not going to give you a virtual option. That's excluding people. What's the point in doing that? You want to expose yourself?
On that note, Zach, again, with the membership, even though obviously showing up for a job fair is super valuable in and of itself, one of the ways they marketed it was to also do the resume review, offer the resume review service. Do you want to talk a little bit about how we have that in the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have offered in our platform, we have a third-party partnership with a company called Top Resume. And this is an extra value add for our platform. And what this allows you and your candidates to do, if you are having that job event, or even if you're having, let's say, a career workshop where you're teaching people how to build their resume, right? They can submit their rough draft to Top Resume and get instant feedback for free. Now, to be forthright with everyone, if they have initial conversation or if they have follow-up conversations with Top Resume, there will try to be a sale made. But that first interaction, that first bit of feedback, which is invaluable when you're building your first resume, is 100% free and a value add of the Premier Virtual package. So our partners at Top Resume, they do a great job. They're more than happy to help you with the format, with the layout, and of course, with the content too. So thank you, John, for that. Top Resume is a great third-party partnership that we have. And again, it's about adding value onto the Premier Virtual platform. Do we have any questions about anything I've covered so far? I don't see anything in the chat. Don't be shy, folks. If you have a question, if there's something I've shown you that you want a little bit more explanation on, maybe you want to see one of our features or enhancements, don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to show that to you. I will give you a few seconds to ask these questions.
Zach, I don't know if you have it as part of your presentation, but maybe, seeing a video interview recorded.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. I can show you some examples. So I showed you what it looked like to record your own interview. What I want to show everyone is that we actually have it loaded in here, a lot of preloaded message that you can just use. I cannot stand watching myself on recording. I do not listen to my own voicemail. I will never watch this webinar, even though it's being recorded. I'll never watch it again. This is the last time I'm going to see this content. Just is what it is. If you're like me, we have preloaded questions into our system that you can go ahead and piggyback off of.
What is your ideal working environment?
That one specific to a job event, but this one,
Tell me more about yourself in under a minute.
that can be applicable across events, right? You want to know the attendees of your events, a little bit more about them. And who's this handsome devil down here?
What makes you unique?
Wow, who's that guy? I don't know how we got a professional actor on here, but we did. If you don't like any of our ugly mugs, we also have ambiguous blue aliens.
If you suddenly were able to travel through time, what would you do first?
These are just examples questions, guys. Again, you can record yourself asking your own questions, but just to give you an idea of the power of the platform, the kind of data and information that you can collect with our platform, it's simply not available to you anywhere else. And you're going to have access to the answers to all these questions before your event starts. There would be no point to asking these questions and not having access to the valuable data. We give you access to that data before your event even starts. So a really easy way to, again, take your candidate beyond their resume. Take your candidate beyond their LinkedIn or their Facebook profile. Learn about who they are as a person and really what makes them tick and what brought them to your event today. Okay, I don't see any questions. I don't really have a whole lot more to cover, John. Is there anything else that you wanted me to share with the group?
No, I just think, we've seen our clients really, right, come up with ways to use the platform that we didn't even initially kind of think that was the purpose for it. Like the virtual job boards. I mean, that wasn't something that we kind of, put out there. It was one of our clients really creatively came up with it. I just like to maybe you could end it on like national, the scope of what you can do, right? If someone has remote job openings, right? You could do a national hiring event where you have in-person and of course virtual and maybe speak a little bit towards that. And I think, because again, what we're talking about here is using the platform, beyond the job fair or what a typical job fair is. And I think this is a great, use case where you are going nationwide with an event. We're doing an event for the sheriff's office in Florida soon, and it's a statewide, first responder, mostly for police, but it's something that they've never done before. This is the first time, and this is a national agency for the state of Florida. So we're excited about those kinds of applications as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, John. And that's where hybrid and virtual can really take your efforts to the next level. If you're hiring for, let's say, some remote positions, or you have a company that has a nationwide presence, offices in all 50 states or in different regions, Premier Virtual is the right fit for you. There is not another platform that can really offer you the capacity to capture all those different geographic areas like our platform does. You're going to be able to find people that you wouldn't be able to uncover before with your previous efforts. And the way you set up your event, how you categorize it, you can make it as creative as you want and really go above and beyond, right? The Indeeds of the world, the Glassdoors of the world. Everyone knows those names. Everyone knows who's associated with them, right? Premier Virtual differentiates itself from those things, right? We combine all the best things about Zoom, about Microsoft Teams, about Indeed. They all do some great individual things. What we've done, and this is between us, keep this a secret, this is between us. We've taken all those best features, built them into our platform just for you to use, right? So when you're talking about having that video interview, or excuse me, the video software, group video software, all the functionality of Zoom built in. I can share my screen. I can host a QA. I can put people in the waiting room. I can mute loudmouths, right? All those functionalities are built into the Premier Virtual platform. And that's great because when you talk about harnessing the power, the real power is keeping people engaged. If someone doesn't have to leave to check their email, leave to go to their social media network, or leave to submit a resume, if it's all happening in one platform, you're creating more engagement, more meaningful engagement.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You could use the platform. If you're only using Indeed and the job boards, you're only reaching people that are looking for jobs, right? You're not reaching the passive job seeker. And so you could create meet and greets. And also, I don't want to go into a Zoom where I just see everybody or everybody sees me or whatever, it can get a little bit out of control, right? With the Premier Virtual Platform, you can control that environment. No one has to ever feel like someone else is is in the room with them that they don't want to be in the room with. So I think that's another big advantage. But yeah, I think planning meet and greets through the platform and using it as a social media engagement tool, like, putting it on TikTok, putting it on Instagram, that you're going to have these meet and greets, I think is a great way to reach the passive job seeker or the guy who didn't even know he was looking for a job. All of a sudden, there's some good opportunities that are in front of him, because as any recruiter knows, it's great to hire the employed, probably over the unemployed. And because that just happens a lot. And now this is another way. If you're only using job boards and Indeed, you're only reaching the active. Now you can reach the passive as well. So
yeah, and John, I actually learned that from you a few weeks ago when you first mentioned that passive job seeker, and that's a huge thing, right, guys? And we're talking about, when you're talking about driving attendance for any type of event, there's going to be people like me who aren't actively searching out events. I'm not going out and looking for a workshop to attend tomorrow, right? But if I saw a workshop that was relevant to me that I could easily attend on the Premier Virtual Platform, I might be more inclined to go to that workshop, right? So I am that passive person that John's talking about, where I'm not actively searching out events, but if an event reaches my inbox, I'm interested in it, and I go on the Premier Virtual Platform, I see how easy it is to use, I see how beautifully designed it is, I'm going to be more inclined to use the Premier Virtual Platform in the future. So that's all I have from my end. I will open it up for any questions. I don't see any right now, but if you have any, now is the time, team.
Yeah, while we're waiting, I'll just in a summary, right? The platform is a virtual, recruitment system. You have to really look at it beyond just hosting the event. I know that's why you were here today, and I hope that some of what we gave you can trigger some ideas. We're always open to your ideas as well. In fact, we do focus groups. How many of our features and upgrades have come because of what our clients' feedback is?
Majority.
Of it. So we are always improving the platform, releasing new things, but it's always because we've seen the value now beyond the job fair. It started really just niche to this virtual, and now it's become this really virtual recruitment suite. So you should look at it that way. If your current platform doesn't behave that way, doesn't have that kind of scope or breadth or features, then Zach's here. He'd be happy to give you a full demo of the platform.
Absolutely. I am here, and I will be in touch to everyone who's registered and participated in this webinar. And I appreciate all of you for joining us. Again, the idea behind this webinar is to show you that Premier Virtual, we're about more than job and career fairs. You may be in this webinar because you've heard of us in the job fair, in the career fair world. We're a virtual event company. Anything that you can host in an in-person capacity, you can host in a virtual or a hybrid capacity on our platform. That's the message that we want to get across today. Again, if anyone has any more questions, wants to follow up with me, I will be in touch as soon as the webinar ends. And thank you all for your time today. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.